Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance podcast studio. And we are live in the studio with our candidate for selectman, Mr. Jim Tripp, who has been serving on the board. How many years now, Jim?
I was first elected, started in 2017, was elected at basically as an appointment to replace Brian Flood.
Yep.
And then was elected in 2017, 19. Ran for first selectman, as you noted, in 2021,
Yep.
and then was reelected to the board to start serving again in 23. So 6 years of service on the Board of Selectmen at this point.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely.
Anyway, yeah, we had, in fact, Mr. Dillon over there in the Peanut Gallery. He was on, and we talked a little bit about some of his initiatives, and I had Andrea on and so forth. So we want to get you on is, I think a lot of the bullet points that we're going to talk about that you and I have been involved in is basically the water issues in town and how that has evolved and And becoming water independent, I think, is one of our top priorities. And you want to expound on that a little bit? You go right ahead.
Absolutely. I think one of the things we noted when I first came on the Board of Selectmen, we had really just started a period where we started looking at what was happening with our water increases. And over that 3-year period, 2017 to 2020, basically starting with the rates from 2017, so the 2018, 19, and 20,
Yep.
The rates went up 43.3%. And that had a tremendous impact on the rates that we had to pass along to our ratepayers.
Sure.
And we really started some serious conversations. We started with MDC. We started with looking at other water companies. We really started doing some evaluation as what is the best long-term path going forward.
Sure. Well, I think rightfully so. I mean, we're in the waning months of a 30-year contract, and I believe that contract is up January 1, 26.
Yeah.
Okay, so you and I have had meetings with MDC as far as possible, working out a viable solution for a possible 2-year extension. We know we have found a great source of water out at our recreation park and so forth. And I think what we need to do, and we also secured funding for I think the last referendum.
Yeah, well, I think it goes back to to the previous first select woman, Susan Bransfield. When she was here, we were able to get a grant from DPH for $250,000. And the purpose of that was to start looking for viable sources of water that we could become, again, as you said, water independent. That has continued as we've worked through that process. And we've currently, we found a source. We've got a source sitting at the north end of the Route 17 Sport Complex. So it's on town-owned property, which is very helpful from a long-term cost perspective.
Sure.
And we did 48-hour pump testing a few months ago, where we were able to run that well at 1.44 million gallons a day.
Yep.
Our current average is about 680,000 gallons a day, with a peak of about 1.1 million. So this source actually would meet our needs for the municipality. We're doing testing now. We're going through the 5-day testing, which I think it either ended yesterday or today.
Yeah.
And we were testing that well up to 1.9 million gallons to see what we could do, because when we looked at the specific capacity of that well, when we looked at the actual production capabilities of that well, it definitely exceeded the 1.4 million from the 48-hour testing a few months ago. So we may have a very good volume producing well. And also, I think, which is important for our folks in our municipality to hear, is that it's very high quality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and the nice thing about it too, it's in a different aquifer from our Glastonbury Road well, which is down at our Public Works garage. Okay,
Right.
And that is 500,000 gallons a day.
Yeah.
So that it hasn't affected that at all. So which is good. So viably speaking, I think we can produce with both wells well over 2 million gallons.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at, and as you said, this well we're looking at, our current well that we operate today, the town facility is about 62 feet down.
Yep.
Versus the new well we're looking at 333 feet.
Right.
And looking at the geology of the area, we've got some separation in there. We've got a couple of dense clay layers, which also will help protect that aquifer.
Sure.
Effectively, what we're doing is we're kind of poking a straw down into what was the ancient riverbed.
Yes.
From back when we had glaciation here and the Connecticut River flowed in a different path.
Right, right. And the Glastonbury Road well, that's a 62-foot gravel pack well.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but that has served us well. I mean, before we took the reservoir offline, we were able to pump that, during the summer months when the reservoir was low and so forth. So, just giving people a little perspective on the flow of the water. Obviously, we have our interconnection with MDC, which comes down through Glastonbury. They have a valve at the Glastonbury line, okay, which pumps down and pumps into our system. But basically, we have 2 500,000 tanks up at the reservoir. So what water is not consumed directly through the system is pumped up there and keeps those tanks full.
Yeah, which helps us with our water pressure and
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Basically we have the 2 tanks up at the high school, basically, which serve as our high pressure zone, which serves the cone of the High Street Hill and so forth. So there's 1.5 million gallons up there.
Yeah, and then I think one of the things that touches on is that one of the keys, as we've been talking about going towards water independence, is making sure that we've got resiliency in the system.
Absolutely.
Having 2 wells that we own that are both good producing wells to produce good quality water is key.
Yeah.
And we're also looking, and this is going to be part of the long-term negotiation with MDC, at keeping the MDC as a tertiary connection.
Sure.
Right, allowing us, as other municipalities have, an interconnection that we would pay for, but then only pay for water as we need to.
As we need to, yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. With the both tanks, at the reservoir and up on High Street, that effectively gives us plenty of water, for our daily needs, and to go from there. My back is spasming. Oh my God. Unbelievable. So, anyway, so I know you were involved in a lot of the project, from the get-go, and I know we've served on the Water and Sewer Commission together, and this is going to be a big step forward, and also it's going to be, as you say, from a resiliency standpoint, going to be give us opportunities possibly to, get water out on 66, which is, I know, has been a priority of mine for many, many years. My adage is build it and they will come.
Absolutely. I mean, when we look at this, there's a couple of components here, right? One is having the capacity for our homegrown, right, our own water sources to expand the system.
Sure.
But part of that is making it more affordable, right? Making it and having some sort of control over the cost. Right. One of the things that we haven't seen that we with MDC is we don't have a control of that cost. When I started initially, working on these water issues, basically the water cost was about 35% of the water budget.
Yeah.
As the water costs have continued to grow with MDC, now all of a sudden it becomes, 40%, 42%, which makes it you have less of an ability to absorb those cost increases. Sure. Moving towards the water independence allows us to drive those costs down. Ultimately, we can produce the water basically for the cost of treatment, right? For the cost of the sanitization, et cetera, and the electricity to operate the well, which will drive the cost down significantly for the water. That does a couple of things. It allows us to, one, have some cost stabilization, which is really important from an economic development perspective. But it also allows us to do and free up some capital to do some work to maintain our existing system, which
improve
gets
the infrastructure.
Exactly, which gets crowded out, which, by the way, improves resiliency. So it's making it more affordable. Basically, this will allow us. What we're doing now will allow us to get to that place where we're more affordable, which means when we do expand the system, it'll be much more acceptable for folks when we do that, to move them onto the system.
Well, because of those costs of, from MDC, we haven't been able to put a lot of money into infrastructure. So this is going to change that.
Yeah, it crowds it out. Yeah. And we'll have, obviously, the period of time that very grateful for the town and the voters who approved the bond to allow us to basically fund the actual building of the well, the implementation of this project. Again, I think it's important for folks to know. Right now, we spend between $800,000 and $900,000 a year. I think last year was $848,000 in that ballpark with MDC.
Yeah.
As we drive those costs down, I think if we look at the 20 years projection out for the construction of the well,
Yep.
the highest projected cost
Yeah.
in the bonding was $293,000.
Wow.
And that that sunsets once we get through that bond period.
Sure.
So again, just there's a lot of upside, for the town to go in the direction that we're going.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, getting water out on the 66 is going to be huge, and potentially, maybe getting to water to East Hampton.
Yeah, well, and I think that I think when we talk about taking care of our system, one of the bullets, I think one of the things that I know as a group, right, me, you, John, Andrea, are really focused on, in addition to water and the work we have to do with the schools, is what we need to do from an economic development perspective.
Sure.
Right, let's make sure we're taking care of the tax base. We're trying to grow the tax base, which provides and will help all residents. Important to do that in Portland to do that. And one of the ways to do that is to look at some of the places where, if we had water, we may see some additional development that could benefit that tax base.
Well, absolutely. And I know we talked about, it's going to help, John talked about recreation, and of course we have the new kayak launch, which is going to be taking shape down in the old Tomaso field. I know Rick Shar and Lou Pear were champions of that, as far as that goes. So that's going to be huge. So anyway, so what do you do for hobbies?
For hobbies, well, I think that that's an interesting question. Basically, I like to do a lot. I do a lot of volunteering.
Yes, you do.
I mean, I've got my I have my day job, right? I work as a construction manager for a large telecommunications company. That keeps me busy, but I also very involved in certain volunteer organizations in town. I have been with the Brownstone Quorum
For many years.
Basically since 2000, the end of 2000.
Wow.
Is when I joined up, and have had the pleasure of working with that group in the development of the riverfront park.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we look at the recreation side of the house. I love the work that's happened with the airline trail, the canoe launch. I did have the opportunity, to see the work that Lou was doing. Basically Lou and Rizzo, the work that they were doing on both of those fronts.
Yeah.
But I was also involved with the Route 17, the recreational complex
Sure,
construction.
yeah.
That was again another project. Working with Ralph Zampiano.
Absolutely.
He was involved in that for so long.
Yes.
And to kind of get involved with that was a great project.
Sure.
A lot of foresight.
Yeah, because you served with Ralph on the Board of Selectmen.
Served with Ralph on the Board of
Yes,
Selectmen as
okay.
well. Absolutely. So I've been involved in those issues. A couple of things I probably won't go too deep into, just because it is the type of season where you don't want to throw politics into some of the things that you do. So, but I do like to stay busy. I'm heavily involved. I'm with the Portland Lions.
Yes.
Love the work that's going on there. Love the support we do, the things we do for the food bank, the kids screenings in school, things of that nature.
Sure.
Just a lot of great causes. But those things are the things that keep me happy.
And you accepted a fairly good position with the Lions and all the volunteer work that you've done there. So you're a district governor now?
I am. That's actually it's a huge honor to get to serve a year in that capacity. And I'm about 3 months in right now on a 12-month term. That's for the Eastern Connecticut, and just a tremendous group of folks.
Yes.
We get about 1,600 Lions in Connecticut, in Eastern Connecticut, in this district, and they're just some of the most dedicated, hardworking volunteers you'd want to deal with.
Yes.
Special group.
Yeah. Well, all of the money that you guys raise for a variety of organizations, the food bank and everybody else. I mean, it's tremendous.
Yeah, and it's something that when you put your head on the pillow at the end of the day and you're tired, it's kind of something that you can be proud of how you spent your time.
Sure.
That's to me that's what's important to
Sure.
me when I look at getting involved in things.
And you do a fair amount of boating too.
Well, yeah. When you talk about just the fun habits, boating is my distraction. I love the work. I love to be out on the Connecticut River.
Yeah.
And we had, for many years, we had our boat slipped up here at the old Yankee and then at Burden. And a couple of years ago, we moved further down to the Petzolds facility down in
Chester.
In Chester,
Yeah.
and that's been a lot of fun too. I mean, we ended up spending, we took a little cruise out to the eastern side of Long Island, and got some great videos playing, watching the seals play. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's to me that's a very nice place to go just to relax.
Well, from
and
Chester,
relax.
it's a lot shorter ride to the Sound.
It is, and it takes us about 45 minutes to get, which is mostly no wake zone.
Yeah.
About 45 minutes, 35 to 45 minutes to get out into the Sound versus it was about an hour and 45 before. So
Yes.
it's but that's definitely Connecticut River. To me, that's one of our great resources.
Oh, absolutely.
That we have. I had somebody that came out with us, a friend of mine, actually one of my Lions friends, and her brother-in-law was visiting from Ohio, and he had not ever had the opportunity to get out on a boat like that. And I had him out on the river, and we came back and we actually watched the swallows in the event that happens down in the southern end of the river.
Yeah.
Where the swallows will come up out of the grass, and then they feed, and then they all go back down in.
Yeah.
And the sunset, and and it was like watching somebody who had never seen that before.
Yes.
It was it's what we take sometimes for granted as this absolutely gorgeous place to live in, for somebody who's never seen it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And just a fun fact, obviously, I think I mentioned it with John, that Portland has the longest riverfront frontage in the state.
Of any city and town in the state of Connecticut, and until the boat launch just got put in, and as we're putting this canoe launch in, that'll be the first sort of public access to it.
Yes.
Obviously, you can get to it at the Riverfront Park. But this will be the first place that's just purely public access, free public access to go down and put a boat in.
Yep. Yeah, we got 15 miles. In fact, I did a podcast featuring local business, and we had Bob Petzel on and so forth. And he's been in town a long time, and he explained about his endeavors down in Chester, which is good. Expanding.
Well, the Chester, and they, because I remember, I think it was their 75th.
Right.
That I was at a few years ago, right? So, I mean, they've obviously been a Portland staple. They do a great job with what they do down at the Chester, at the marina. And I believe they just actually took over a facility they just acquired a facility in Clinton. So
Clinton, I think, and I think they have a facility in Norwalk.
They do. I'm not sure exactly the association with that one because I haven't been to that one yet. But.
Yeah. So kudos to Bob and his whole family. There's, I think, at least 3 generations there and so forth. But right on Indian Hill Avenue for sure. So, anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I'm lucky. I moved here. I raised my family here.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I, we got married. We built our house here in Portland in 1999. Our kids went through Portland schools.
Yes.
And have done very well. Portland schools served both of them very well.
Yeah. Had the pleasure of having your daughter in our Town Tech program.
Caitlin.
Caitlin. Yeah, and so forth. Was our AV queen.
She loved doing that. And I think it's Rebecca's right now working on she's actually working on a PhD right now, and Caitlin is finishing up. She's in her senior year at UConn. So time flies, by the way.
You and Lizzie have done good.
Yes.
You should be proud. God, fantastic.
So.
And I know we miss Lizzie at the town hall when she was a big asset when she was in the building.
She really appreciated the 10 years she spent there.
Yeah.
She made a lot of great friends.
Now for sure.
And she really enjoyed the work.
Now for sure. So anyway, well, we have the I think the early voting is coming up on the 20th. Okay.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that all of our residents are aware of that, of the great team that we have. With you, myself, and John and Andrea Alfano. I think we have a very, very strong ticket that will, work tirelessly, for the best interest of the town.
And it's folks. I mean, I can remember. I mean, obviously, I've had the pleasure of serving with John now for a couple of years on the board, but we've been involved, for years running the Haunted Trail.
Oh yeah.
John was always one of our staples. We had a lot of fun, in doing that event, and obviously you and I think one of the first things I did when I joined the Board of Selectmen is I said, we need to get this water. I wanted to learn more about water, so I said, "Hey, Dave, make me smarter."
Okay.
And
Well.
and I'm not sure you know.
Oh, no.
I think you taught me a few things. And,
Well, yeah, I think we taught
and,
each other a few things. My
so-
God, you have really done well as far as the numbers of the water issues. I think are doing all of the modeling and all of that kind of stuff really clarified things. And so if I'm more the nuts and bolts guy, but you're the numbers guy. Fantastic.
It's been it's been a good team. It's a good partnership. And Andrea, I was elected to the Board of Education in 2015.
Yeah.
And Andrea, I ended up serving with her on the policy committee, and learned a lot from her. She was at the time she was effectively the vice chair, I think the secretary, but basically the second in line for the Board of Ed.
Yep.
And she did, I believe, 9 years on the Board of Education.
Yes, she did.
And she taught me a lot
Yeah.
when I joined as well.
Well, I think she's going to be a great advocate for the school system, and the school system is certainly one of our needs. Okay, that we have to invest in. Our children's education. And not only the educational side, but the facility side too, because as all of the infrastructure is aging, and we got to take care of that.
Absolutely.
For sure. So anyway, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this episode. Okay, and with us in the house is our candidate and presently serving on Board of Selectmen. Okay, Mr. Jim Tripp. So Jim, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming in, and we'll see you on Election Day. So get out there and vote, and vote for our Democratic team. So
All right. Thank you, Dave. Always a pleasure.
yeah, and that is all.